All right, I'm in Indianapolis. It's absolutely freezing cold. On my way to get some lunch, but there's a big construction site right here, and they've got 4 toilets on the project. Now scratch that, they've got 6. So I've always wondered how people can do service in this kind of weather. My hands are freezing and I've only been outside for like 30 seconds. I got a lot of respect for these construction workers. But I've always wondered how porta potty companies keep the water from freezing. So, you know, where I'm at in California, it doesn't get below 40 degrees, even in the coldest of winter. So I'm gonna have to call my boy Travis and he's gonna tell us how he gets it done. Dude, I don't know how you do this. I've been outside for like 10 minutes and I'm absolutely freezing.
How cold is it there?
It's 10 degrees right now.
Oh, okay, so it's 29 by me.
Okay, not as bad, but still, that's hella cold. So, could you do me a favor, introduce yourself to everybody, who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Travis. I am the owner and operator of CKC Portable Restroom, based out of Westchester. We started in 2021 with 4 toilets, and now we're around 380 toilets sitting, all organic.
All organic, that's what I like to hear. So,
Yep.
You said it's 29 degrees where you're at. I'm just wondering, what are some of the things that you do to keep your toilets from freezing over? Because that's the first thing that I think of and I would worry about.
How do we deal with the cold weather? Fortunately for us, it gets cold, but it's not as cold as, like, you know, some other states that get down in the, you know, negative 30s that are warm. For us, we get 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks out of the year during wintertime that it's really just really cold, like a 0, you know, -1, whatever. But how do we prevent freezing in the toilets? So using porta potty forums on Facebook have been tremendous help. Before even knowing about Facebook forums, what we were doing was taking a scoop of salt and putting it in toilets, and it never worked. So this year, going into 2024, I did some research and heard about this thing called Brine. And brine is essentially salt water broken down, or salt broken down, you know, combination of salt water broken down. And what I do is I take a tote, a 275-gallon tote. I take 5 to 6 bags of water softener salt, and I fill it up with water. I put the 6 bags in the tote. And then I got an Amazon sub pump for about maybe $30. And what I do is I put that in there after the tote's filled, and that will dissolve the water, make a salt water mix. What I do is, then I take a trash pump, I put it in the tote, and I take one of the Tiger hoses and pump it into the truck every night. And that water won't freeze until -5 degrees. It's from what I read. Don't take my word, but we've got down to -1 and the water was totally fine in the truck overnight. I know a lot of people say salt water will eat away at aluminum. Personally, I've never seen it before. I'm sure it does over time. Only 3 months out of the year, really, we're using salt water. So I'm not too worried. It's already starting to get warmer out now. It was 45 degrees yesterday. The following week before that was 0. So, you know, things are warming up. So now, after we get the water in the truck, to prevent the toilets from freezing, like I said, we make the salt water brine. We pump it into the truck at night. When the driver gets back, I'll go there and fill the truck. Now that salt water will be good in those toilets, like I said, until, like, you know, -5. But once people start going to the bathroom in it, like pissing and shitting in it, so that urine is more on the water side, I guess. So the toilets actually start freezing up. So what the driver will do is he'll usually have like an ice pick, and that ice pick will, you know, he'll chop it up in so much as he can and then vacuum it up. Around 20 degrees is when it will go completely liquid and there'll be no more ice. So that's what we experienced. This is our first year dealing with saltwater brine. So maybe I got to go a little bit heavier, maybe do 8-9 bags of salt water. 8-9 bags of water softener salt to prevent maybe any icing going on in the toilets. I do want to start putting salt in the actual urinals, but we just trying to be cost effective and not waste too much money. We still are a new company, so we are allocating a lot of money more towards other things. But I think putting salt in the urinal, so when people do piss, go to the bathroom, you know, the urine breaks down into salt water. So like I said, 1:40 in the morning, 14 degrees. Just gonna show you guys an example of what the toilet actually looks like in this type of weather. You can see it's still moving to very light, thin layer of salt that will actually break up when you stick the hose in it. So this is the setup we got going. We have the 2 totes right here. We have all our water softener salt down below. So we basically fill these up with a pipe right here. As you can see, I'm actually trying to unfreeze my blue dye and fragrance spray for the day. This is sat overnight. You know, didn't freeze, perfect. This is my little Amazon sub pump. And what I do is I get another sub pump from Harbor Freight, and I fill this up with windshield wiper fluid at night so it doesn't freeze, so I can start it up and pump the truck first thing in the morning from this PVC hose to the pump to this Tiger hose into the truck. And right here we actually have some windshield wiper fluid. That's what I'm going to do to clean this toilet up a little bit. And that's it. This is how it is in the winter. This will save your life when anything freezes. And this was another great investment to have.
I saw one of your other videos too. You didn't empty out the hose and like it froze rock solid.
Exactly.
Like, how often does that happen?
So if it's just water, I think in that video, in that situation, it was just water, so there's no salt water. Now that we have the salt water combination, I do leave the water inside the truck overnight, no matter how cold it gets. And I did experiment in one of the videos I sent you recently. Got down to, I think, -1, and nothing in the truck was frozen. None of the water was frozen, so it was pretty smooth sailing once we figured out this situation.
Okay, and then when you're washing down the toilets, like when it's that cold, do you even wash down the toilets, or?
Yes, don't use, yeah, we do, but we don't use water. We'll use windshield wiper fluid inside these little pumps.
Ah, okay, that makes sense, because otherwise it just freeze, right?
Exactly, it will freeze, but also not only that, the worst part is when you have someone using the salt water to clean the toilet, because once that dries up, it looks all white.
Oh yeah, it just looks hella dirty, right?
Yeah, it looks like you threw a bag of powder all over the toilet, white powder. So, and it's really hard to clean too.
Damn, okay, damn, that's something I didn't even think about. At the wet show, I saw this tool called the Crust Buster. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, so we actually made our own Crust Buster in 2022, and at Harbor Freight we got it was an attachment to like a drill, and what it would do would mix everything up. But our 2-inch hoses, I'm sure you run 2-inch hoses as well. Anything bigger than 2 inches or just 2 inches itself of ice, it's gonna get stuck in the hose, and it's absolutely horrendous to get out.
Damn. And then dealing with the cold, right? So in the wintertime in California, our market, we probably see about a 10% drop in the winter just because it's rainy, you know, not as many people are working, but really the conditions aren't that bad, so lots of people still work. What do you see kind of a drop off in the winter? Like, is there like a total standstill, or what percentage drop do you see?
When at our peak, like I said, we were running 360 to 380 toilets. We have about maybe 60 sitting right now-ish. So construction definitely slows between January and February. You have tax season coming up. A lot of people just spend so much money on the holidays and everything, so they slow down. Usually around March, it starts getting moving and grooving. You do have a lot of construction companies that don't care about the cold, and they'll break ground no matter what and throw houses up. So, but most people aren't working when it's, you know, this cold.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any kind of like PPE, or what do you give to your guys, and what do you use? Like gloves, boots, anything like that?
When I give my drivers a box of latex gloves once a week. They usually rip through them, but I also give them like more like wool gloves, a bit more heavy set, similar to like something like this. They're all insulated. I give them eyeglass wear, reflector jackets.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you charge extra for winterization? I know that some companies do.
Man, I wish I could. Unfortunately, it's so aggressive by me with the competition.
Yeah, so your competition doesn't either?
No, they don't even charge delivery fees for the most part.
Damn, that's tough out there.
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
But getting to 400 toilets in 2 years, though, that's something to be proud of for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of shaking hands.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Anything else you can think of that I missed?
So we got salt water down, and what we usually do, like I said, it's fairly simple. It's something we just discovered this year.
Yeah.
So all the other years we were dealing with just water. And what we would do is we'd take a scoop of salt, thinking that would dissolve inside the toilet, which was pretty stupid to us, because salt, like rock salt in general, is really, really hard to dissolve, even with a little pump, sub pump inside the tote to mix it up throughout the day. That was pretty stupid, but yeah, the water softener salt is definitely the way to go. It's really clean. It's white. It's not dark like rock salt. So your water's not completely brown. You know what I mean? That's pretty much it. I know one big topic with the salt water that I like to discuss is stainless steel and aluminum tanks and what it does to your tank.
What is the difference? Because I run all stainless tanks.
Yeah, I saw that in one of your videos. I think stainless steel is going to be the way we go next year. But right now we have aluminum. I haven't seen any like corrosion from the water sitting in the trucks. Granted, we're only doing it maybe 3 months out of the year.
Yeah, and hopefully over time it doesn't get worse.
Yeah, exactly. But we did buy an old truck from On-Site, and it does have little pin-size holes. And they do the same thing we do, is pumping the water into the trucks in the afternoon. They run salt water. So it definitely takes a toll on the tank from what I've seen from the truck that we bought. We did have to do some fabrication to it, but it's all good now.
Okay. And one last question I got to ask you. For new operators, what is one tip that you have for somebody just getting into the business?
I'll give you 2 answers. From a finance standpoint, and from what I would do and go back so I didn't deplete my entire savings, is try to get an SBA loan because their terms and rates are really, really good. It's really good debt to have. Like 10-year terms, you know, at $100,000 to start. You know, it's only $1,000 a month. It's only 10 toilets. You know, if you're renting out for $100 a month, that's one tip I would try to do, because if you start running out of capital and you can't put fuel in your truck because your credit cards are maxed out, or you know you depleted your entire savings, it's a bit hard to have that little buffer room of safety when it comes to the money aspect.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a good tip.
From an operating standpoint, if you're operating in like a cold area, definitely be prepared to buy all the material you need in order to run your trucks in the winter, because that is definitely a huge challenge. It's a lot of money. You know, a pallet of salt is $600 every 2 weeks. So that cuts into a lot of your spring and summer expenses that are unexpected. Buying a tote alone is maybe another $300. The sub pump's $300. The hoses for the trucks, another $60 each. You know, that's a lot of different operating expenses that, you know, kind of came out of nowhere that we had to adjust to.
When it's that cold in the morning, how do you motivate yourself to get out of bed?
I'm all in. That's the problem. If you're all in,
yeah.
not to lose. You know what I mean? If you're not all in, it's kind of like, all right, well, you know, your business is going to go to crap because there's someone there trying to steal your lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one more tip for someone that's new and operating: go above and beyond for your customers. Be very personable. Dress very nice. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying like flashy designer clothing. Dress like a gentleman. Tuck your shirt in. Have a nice clean shave. Do your hair properly. Don't look like a schlep. Work like a gentleman. If you could stand out in this dirty business and work nice and clean and not have your shirt hanging out with all this blue dye on it, and, you know, your pants aren't, you know, you're wearing a nice belt, you know what I mean? Just dress properly. Try to stick out in that sense. Shake hands firmly, and you'll make a difference, and you'll stick out.
Yeah.
Because you do see a lot of the people in these companies with the highlighter shirts. They're dragging around. They look like bums. If you cannot look like a bum, you'll go very far.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that for sure.
And you'll attract better quality people to work for you. You know, it's hard to find people nowadays with this modern generation of you know, people that want to do this dirty work. But if you can work like a gentleman and look like a gentleman, you know, and have some class in a sense to it, I think it attracts more quality people from what I've seen.
Amen, brother. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, that's my boy Travis at Seek a Seat. Some invaluable advice. I appreciate your help in this cold. I have to get inside because I think my hands are absolutely frozen. But
man, I wish I was there.
Yeah,
Next time.
I appreciate you.
Anytime, brother. Have a good day.
You too. That was an amazing interview from my boy Travis. Such a great dude. There's no wonder why he's killing it out there in New York. I hope you learned something about how to service toilets in the winter. I know I couldn't do it, so I hope it helps all of you that are in these kind of climates. So I'm heading back to California today. Can't wait to get back. See you guys on the next one.